before we do that, he's profiled infamous dictators and leaders like Slobodan Milosevic and Saddam Hussein. Dr. Goodfield, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Very nice to be here with you, Maria.
And you caution, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that every observation or remark that I make is based on observable, testable behavior, what I call the nonverbal leak. That's something we can see that these people are actually doing. It's not a guessing game.
And you caution critics not to bet against Donald Trump. Tell us why.
Only a fool would bet against Donald Trump. Just ask yourself a question. Who would you bet against? A KGB spy or a very sophisticated 50-year experience New York real estate guy? Come on. Just think about it.
Well, let's talk about the behavior that we're expecting. You point to the ego-driven agendas on the part of both President Trump and President Putin. Can President Trump use Putin's ego to get the best of him?
He will, of course. He's a natural negotiator, and he will use everything that he's learned over the last half a century of negotiating with people. Yes, he will. And the man across from him will be doing exactly the same. Both people will think that they can outsmart and outdo the other, but in fact what will happen is it's not going to happen. President Trump is going to be the guy that I'm betting on in this one.
Why do you say that, given what happened in North Korea, where the president seemed to go out of his way to establish a relationship with Kim Jong-un in a way that people thought went over the line? Some people thought it went over the line. What do you think will be different here?
Well, I think ultimately what people have to realize is the fact that what we're hearing and what we're looking for is some sort of substantive, point-outable, referential change. And will that happen? What we can have is an opportunity to realize that the arrow is going in the right direction. When a doctor walks out of a surgery, what he says is that the patient will survive, things will get better. And both of these men will walk out and probably give you some indication that things are going to get better and they're going to try. There is no bottom line that says it's done, because it's a process. Everybody should understand that.
Is there a danger, Mary Kissel here, is there a danger that we're dumbing down summits? You heard the U.S. ambassador to Russia say essentially that the summit itself is a deliverable. You know, if you look back at the
He said it wasn't a summit.
Yeah, it's not even a summit now. It's a meeting.
He said
It's
it's
just, you don't even know what's going to come out of it. I mean, you know, that's a real shift from prior administrations where, you know, when a U.S. president showed up, there were deliverables there. You knew what the summit was about, and you knew what they were going to discuss.
Yeah. Well, standard here is to lower expectations and increase the possibility that something could come out that both people can brag about. Please understand something. By the way, the word summit was a word that was invented by Winston Spencer Churchill. So we're going to be back in another summit kind of a format, hoping that there will be something that is point-outable, is referential, and does reflect some real genuine change, which I think everybody wants.
So what would be success out of this meeting from your standpoint for the president?
Success for if President Trump comes out and says we've agreed that we will, in fact, do some things directly to try to reduce tensions. Now, of course, there's not going to be any movement, I don't think, on Crimea because this is not something that he's willing to even consider negotiating. So I think we can just write off Crimea. I think you can get some chance for change if you look at some of the things in Syria. Maybe he'll do something there, and maybe they'll both want to have an agreement on something like that.
Well,
I'm not sure what they
push
want,
back on
but
that
I do think that's probably the place where you'll see some change.
I'll push back on that because I watched Sunday Morning Futures, and Mary Kissel was on yesterday morning, and you pointed out we entered into an agreement with Putin and Russia and Jordan and southwestern Syria, and basically Russia has defied it, has attacked on behalf of Bashar al-Assad the opposition there. So we got hoodwinked by a deal that we've already done in Syria, and Putin will potentially try to use the president's desire to withdraw the troops from Syria, which we have not done yet, and we've had airstrikes in Syria. Nonetheless, Putin will try to use that to his advantage to take to one up the United States.
Yeah, I think
I agree with you.
That agreement was, by the way, different from the chemical weapons agreement that Putin also broke with the prior President Obama. But he basically gave cover to Assad to take his troops and take over the eastern suburbs of Damascus. He had such a hard time subjugating it. Gave him time to do that. Because remember, Assad cannot hold ground if not for the Iranian ground forces and the Russian air forces. So, yes, when you say we were hoodwinked, we absolutely were. We basically gave Assad more time to commit war crimes and to subjugate his people.
Which leads to the basic question, why do we think